have to actually drop everything down to where it keeps everything at this proper angle right here so that you have no issues. And that's basically how that works.
Okay.
So?
Okay.
Okay. Now, it's kind of hard to do in the drawing, but that's just basically how it works. You just drop everything down. That's all it does. Now, the only way you gain ground clearance is by putting bigger tires on the vehicle. Okay? Even on a lift, solid axle truck, it doesn't matter what suspension. The only way you get ground clearance is by bigger tires. So, but the whole point is just dropping everything down, and that raises the vehicle up. Okay, so you're dropping everything from the frame down vertically to lift the truck up. Now, so that's basically what we were talking about torsion bar. Well, a coilover shock setup is basically the same thing. The only thing different is instead of using, you still do all the drop items. It's just instead of what you do is you use a spacer on top of your coilover. Or we can use a new, longer coilover shock to make up the difference. And you still have to drop everything down just like you do on the other case. Just it's all done right here instead of on a torsion bar. I forgot to show this on the frame. When the torsion bar comes back, you have to, like your typical, you don't even see the torsion bar. It's hidden up in the frame. But when you lift it, you have to do a drop bracket. It comes like this, and then the torsion bar will go down to the suspension just like the rest of the stuff comes down. So it all matches. And that keeps your that's how the lift works.
It's a long way before
the other thing that we would talk about, another form of lifting, I mean, you can do some other things, but the other main form of lifting, other than a suspension lift, is going to be a body lift. Now, body lift is pretty simple. Okay, over the years, they've gotten a bad rap because people have done stuff in their backyards and use hockey pucks or 2x4s, stuff like that. That's just not the proper way of doing it. But nowadays, body lifts are pretty good. They're all computer designed, and they come with all the brackets too. You drop everything down. It's pretty cool stuff. But basically, body lifts are pretty simple. All you do is you have your frame on the vehicle right here. Your body sits onto mounts that are on the frame right here. Okay, and it just sits on there, and that's all it is. Well, body lift, what you do is you physically go in and you lift the body up about 2-3 inches. That's the max you can do. And you just put a taller puck. And what these are like made out of injection molded, real high impact plastic that are very durable, strong. And you put this on, and then now the body, instead of sitting here, now sits up higher. So all it does is physically lift the body off the frame. Now the only real purpose of doing a body lift is just to get bigger tires, plain and simple. There is no benefits of suspension, there's no benefits of anything other than you just lift the body up and you lift bigger tires. That's all it does. It's usually cheaper than a suspension lift. Suspension lifts tend to be a little bit more expensive. But that's basically how a body lift works. And that's basically, that's it in a nutshell. So, any other questions?
So go back to the coil suspension, because you're saying stock trucks come like that, but then you can just add, it's basically enhancing the way the stock suspension works when you're using that type of suspension lift?
Guess I don't understand.
You said the coil, a lot of stock trucks, they just come like that using that coil system, suspension. But if you use that in a lift, suspension lift, you're just basically replacing those stock parts with...
Yeah, you're just replacing with bigger parts.
Bigger,
that's really pretty much how it works. It's pretty simple. Your truck, I'm just going to draw a line instead of a puddle, but your truck will have just a spring, say that long. And when you go to lift it, you're going to go up the spring that's that long. Okay, and then your stock, stock setup, like if we're going back to the solid axle truck, you have a link that's that long versus on the lift truck, a link that's that long. It's all just a matter of just dropping things down and keeping the right angles. That's all it really is. It's pretty simple. It's kind of a math thing. You know, they have there's equations and stuff that you can go into that makes this all work. That unfortunately I could probably tell you about it, but it'd take too long. You know, it's really unnecessary. So leave that to the suspension guys to come up with that. Anyway, I mean, that's basically pretty much simple how it is. But nowadays, a lot of your vehicles are all going over to this coil spring, this coil over design, and it's just because the benefits of it are so much better. There's better control, better ride. Almost every new vehicle that you have on the market, even these new, you know, little crossover vehicles that you're seeing, that's what kind of suspension they have. They have a coil over shock that controls the vehicle, kind of like on your car. Unfortunately, trucks and SUVs are becoming more and more car-like every year. I mean, it's kind of a bummer that it's working that way. You're kind of taking the truck out of the truck, but I mean, it's just how it's working. But technology has come advanced so much, you can still make basically a car as beefy as a truck in a sense, because a lot of your new trucks, F-150s, Dodge Ram, Silverados, all of those trucks all are coming with a car-like suspension. All your cars back from, you know, probably in the 60s have had a strut, which enhances a shock with a coil on it. Well, now you're using a strut as well on these newer trucks, all of your newer vehicles. Toyota has kind of always been the one that's kind of done that. They've always kind of started that on the trucks. Toyota was the first one to use independent suspension with a torsion bar on their pickup trucks. Then Chevy kind of followed suit, then Dodge did it for a little while. Ford did it. Then Toyota kind of came out with coilover shocks on their Tacomas. Chevy, well actually, Ford followed suit first, then Dodge, then Chevy. And it's just the evolution of how it's all worked. And it's just because that's the better design now. It's just less moving parts, keeps everything centered, you know, located in the front of the vehicle. It's just a totally different setup. Now, one thing I did not discuss, and I'm kind of glad I saw about this, is the rear. How do you lift the rear? You know, we talked about the front, but what about the rear? Well, the rear is the same type of setup. In almost every vehicle except for SUVs and your new 2009 and newer Dodge Ram 1500s have leaf springs in the back. The Dodge 1500s and like a Avalanche, Tahoe, Suburban, Expedition, Durango, almost all those vehicles all have a coil spring in the rear. So on those vehicles, it's kind of like the same thing as the front with the coil spring. You have links that control the axle, and then you have a coil spring. But on your other trucks, like your Silverados, Super Duties, Dodge Ram, 3/4 ton truck, all of them have a leaf spring in the back. With just an axle. Now, those are a little bit more simple in the back than it is in the front. On the front of a solid axle with a leaf spring, you have to put a new spring. Plain and simple. I mean, that's your only option. You cannot do anything else. But on these, all you have to do, really technically, to lift it, is you can just put a block on top of the axle, like this, and then it moves up the spring, and that's how you get your lift. It's just by putting a block in there, and it just lifts it up. Now, you can also do new rear springs. They have the more arch, like we talked about on the front. You can still do that, and it'll lift the truck just fine. That's actually the preferred method, but you know, it's a little more costly, so more people usually go with the more economical way, which is a block. And then like on the coil spring trucks, it's just the same thing as like we were talking on the front. You just use a taller coil spring or a spacer that goes on top of the coil spring that drops it down, and then you use longer links. Now usually on the back of a truck, or in the front, usually you have to run upper and lower links. Usually on the back of these, you can run just either lower or an upper link. Usually sometimes, we just did an FJ Cruiser the other day, and all it did was a new longer upper link. By doing that, it tilts the axle back so it keeps your driveline angles where they need to be, but it still drops everything down and keeps everything working properly. So it's pretty cool setup. It's can be very complicated, but really when you get into it, you know, it's not too bad. So it's a cool thing. It's one of my favorite things. I love doing lift kits. You know,
but to get bigger tires and bigger ground and more ground clearance, that determines, like, if you know what type of ground clearance you're looking for, that determines not necessarily the type of lift kit, but
yeah, I mean, you kind of have to go in, you know, nowadays most people, they come in and they say, oh man, I saw this truck the other day and I want my truck to look like that. You know, and they don't really, you know, think about it like that. But I mean, some people do. They come in and say, you know what, I want to get X more inches of ground clearance. You know, how am I going to do that? And you know, it's all going to be on bigger tires. Most of your vehicles nowadays, well, let's just use full-size trucks for example. Most of them come with anywhere from a 31 to a 33 or so inch tall tire. Okay, most vehicles run anywhere from about 8 inches of ground clearance to about 10 stock. Yeah. The only way to get more ground clearance is to lift the vehicle to make room for bigger tires. You know, so say you have your axle here, and you have your stock tires on there, well, you only have X amount of ground clearance. Well, if you do a lift kit,
This is a 9.
you do lift kit where you run big